Ready?
These are on, by the way.
Welcome to Fairport Harbor Public Library's Test Kitchen. Rabbit Food is here, Kathy Norman is here, and our trusty videographer Kathleen Chitty is here, and we're making her crazy because she's doing a handheld gig this time. And, you know, love you all. This may be the last time I see you. Keep going, Kathy. Shut up. Tonight, we are making
Chickpea Pot Pie.
that,
Yep.
what Lee said. You can, the chickpea is the protein source, I'm assuming.
Yes.
You could substitute
Anything.
anything you want. Impossible meat,
Lentils,
lentils, yeah.
white beans.
White beans. Okay, but have at it, lady.
All right, so this is kind of a cheater version in that we don't need to make a crust. We are going to use puff pastry sheets. These are one of those foods that is vegan and that it contains no animal products. It does not mean it's healthy for you. Do not confuse those two things. So I'm going to go ahead and put these in the oven. If I remember how this works. Looks good. So they come in
This really cool convection oven given to us, donated to us by a faithful library user who keeps winning this stupid spelling bee. But that's not why she gave us the oven, I don't think.
She's bribing you. So normally the puff pastry comes in it's like an envelope fold, so you get 3 pieces, but I've already cooked 1/3 of it just in case this doesn't get done in time. So just break them apart. It will be frozen, that's okay. And then you can cut them into whatever size, we'll call them biscuits, that you would like. Put them on the baking sheet.
And we don't have to grease it, spray it, or do anything.
Don't have to do anything.
I love that.
They will expand a little bit, so you want to put some space, but of course this is a very small tray, so we'll do what we can. I don't think this is actually on. There it goes. So that's gonna preheat, so I'm gonna leave those.
We're going to ignore that for a
Yeah.
moment.
So the basis of what we're doing here is essentially making a vegetable soup and then thickening it. So we have a little bit of oil in the pan that's heating there. And the oil is optional. If you're oil free, you can leave that out, but then of course you also have to leave out the puff pastry. You can use saltine crackers maybe?
Really?
I don't know. It seems like those would just be flour and water.
Well, you could make biscuits, I suppose.
And not if you're oil free.
Oh. Really? That's a thing?
Oil free people?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're out there.
But olive oil is a food source.
Yep, so onions are going in, celery is going in. The quantities that you use here is totally up to you. If you're cooking for a bunch of people, you can kind of figure out based on like how much each person would eat. Like if you were serving each ingredient separately, say, like okay, I would have 3 celery sticks per person if we were putting this out to eat. So use that amount.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And for the people I cook for regularly, I usually sneak celery in because I like the flavor, but I cut it up very teeny tiny so there are no big chunks. And you can't tell, you just have that lovely celery flavor. And celery is good for you. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can cut it to any size you want. I like the onion and celery to be small, and then I'll do the carrots and potatoes a little bit bigger. But you can put other stuff in here, sweet potatoes, broccoli, turnips, I don't know. Cauliflower, whatever you want. Whatever vegetables you have, this is a really good clean out the fridge meal because anything can go in here.
Yeah, mushrooms, any root vegetable.
Mushrooms would be great. This is a giant carrot, so I'm going to quarter it first. Then we're going to turn it on its side, so you always want to cut carrots flat side down.
Yes, you do. This is is why she is the purveyor of wonderfulness at rabbit food. And by the way, rabbit food is wonderful. She changed the menu up from Wild Sport.
It did.
And it is just so delicious. It is delicious, delicious, delicious.
We're going to season every layer. So there's a little bit of salt to go with the celery and onions, which will pull out some of the moisture from the onions, which is the goal in the first step. If we put everything in at once, when we put the water in for the broth, you'll have all of the onion juices in there, which will make it taste really strongly of onions. If you like that, then skip this step. But I like to soften these things up a little bit first.
And most recipes will tell you to do this. And that's why you do this. So that whatever you're cooking, that's entirely taste of onions and garlic.
There isn't any garlic in this
No,
one, but there could
isn't.
be.
But don't tell my children that if their mother had taken this step, their whole childhood would have tasted different.
So normally I would let this go a little bit longer, but you know, you don't need to sit here and watch our onions cook all day. So we're going to go ahead
It's kind
and
of like watching paint dry.
put the rest of the vegetables in. We get the carrots in, so we got room to chop the
Look at
potatoes.
the beautiful carrots.
These are small potatoes. I'm using Yukon Gold, and they have a really thin skin, so we're not going to peel them. If I was using like a russet, I would peel them, but that's just a personal preference.
Really?
I know Kathy wouldn't. And you can cut them into any size chunks that you want.
Yukon Gold also cook faster.
They do. These will cook, once we get the water in there and set this to boil, these will cook probably in about 10 minutes. And that, of course, varies on the size chunks that you do.
So if you're in a hurry for boiled potatoes or mashed potatoes or whatever, you want those guys. I'm a red potato person myself.
They are preheated, so this is going to go in. And I think it'll take about 15 minutes, but you won't see this one because we probably won't stand here for another 15 minutes. Because we're cheating today. We've got step 2 already in the works.
This is a longer cooking time and prep time for us than we usually do.
Yeah, and only because you're waiting for these things to cook, because truly this entire thing can come together in 30 minutes. If you've got your oven preheated, put those in. They need 15 to 18 minutes. Keep an eye on them. And then, did you bring the vegetable broth over here?
Oh, no. You want me to go get it?
Is
It's
it
upstairs.
Oh, no, because we have that one, but,
Never mind.
wait, no, that one doesn't have, wait, yes it does. Never mind, we're good. We are good.
We're not at all confused today. No, not us.
Okay, so, when you get to this step, we'll show you, but then we're going to move on to the next pot. So we're going to add water, just enough to cover the vegetables, because then it's going to thicken, and that's, if you have too much liquid, you're not going to be able to thicken it, and you'll have a really runny, soupy mess.
When are we adding those suckers? Not to the end?
Well, okay, so now we're going to move on to this pan.
Aha.
So this is just this that's been cooked.
And this is how they do it in all those really fancy cooking shows, by the way.
So chickpeas go in. Our green peas go in. I love peas. I'll put them in anything. Plus, you need that bright greenness in there.
You know, you could also throw corn in here. Sure. And you could, that would be so yummy.
Okay. Now, here's how we thicken it. We're going to use regular all-purpose flour. We're going to put some water with it. We're going to shake it, so making sure that this lid is on correctly. You could also put it in a bowl and whisk it, but this really is the best way to make sure you don't have any chunks. Because if you have chunks in here, you will have chunks in there. They won't smooth out and you'll just have little flour balls.
And honest and truly, if you have those jars you've been saving and you don't know why, great use for them. To mix up flour, cornstarch would do the same thing because
Yeah, if you want this recipe to be gluten-free, you can use cornstarch for this step, but you'll have less, it'll be less white creamy sauce. It'll be more of just a thickened broth. I think it looks more appealing to use the flour, is my point, but it is a great gluten-free option to use cornstarch instead. Again, you wouldn't be able to use the puff pastry. We need a gluten-free biscuit. So we want this to be simmering before we put the flour in, which is kind of the hold up here. We'll crank up the heat.
And I'll stir this one because it's boiling.
Yeah, so you would cook this just until everything gets tender, and then this is the point that you would also put your vegetable broth into here, which we hypothetically did when we added the water.
We did that. Yep, we did. You just missed that step.
And so before you put the flour in to thicken it, taste your broth. So this one, if you taste it as is, it's a little bit salty because we're going to be adding this mixture which has not been seasoned. So if that was good, like not too salty, good to go as is, you would, instead of using water, also add vegetable broth to here so that the flavor stays balanced and you don't dilute it.
And there it is.
All right, so we're starting to simmer. We are not going to use all of this. We're going to put a little bit in. Kathy will stir it in and we'll see where we are. And as it cooks, it'll thicken.
Look at how beautiful. It's beautiful.
We're going to sneak a plate out of
Absolutely
here. Are the plates down there? They're not down there.
In the drawer. There you go. This is a beautiful thing.
So from this step, all you have to do is make sure that once it's the thickness that you want, as you continue cooking it, it'll keep getting thicker. And then you just have to make sure that your peas have gone up because we did put them in there frozen.
Yep.
All right. So this is the pre-cooked puff pastry biscuits. So this is just the other third of the sheet that didn't go in the oven there. So they cooked at 400 degrees for 15 minutes. And then, so when we serve this at home, you have a couple options. You can either just scoop that onto the plate, throw a biscuit on top and call it a day, or you can peel them open and you can put some of your filling on the bottom and then put tops on it, and then it's like a pie. There you go.
There it is. The advantage to being the videographer for this program is that you get to eat the results. There you are, my friend.
So that's
Thank
it.
you.
Super easy. You can use this filling for anything. You can even throw it in a store-bought pie crust if you don't want to mess with making a pie crust. There's a lot of options, but
Are those vegan?
some of them contain lard, so you just got to read the ingredients. But yeah,
There it is.
that's it.
Thanks for shopping.
See you next time.
See you next time.